Bonsoir everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video in which we're going to take a look at the best medium out there at tier 10. I know the choice is really hard because there are several ones beside the collectibles and the premiums that I'm going to try to put aside on this video to propose to you a tech tree tank. I can tell you that since 9.1 nerfs and buffs that occurred at tier 10, you have multiple tanks that are truly worth getting. But there is one, in my opinion, that stands out among the others. And this tank is the TVP T5051. You will find the beast among the European nation, European tech tree if you prefer. And in this one, there is something when you catch that mighty boy that you will find out pretty soon. The reload between shells is just OP. 1.5 seconds for 4 shells in the magazine, which means that it's going only to take you 4.5 seconds to unleash 4 times 310 alpha damage for a total output of more than 1.2 thousand damage. So in 4.5 seconds, you inflict 1.2 thousand damage, and if you know how to use it, it's just godlike. You gotta keep in mind one thing. The TVP doesn't have any armor, so you can't count on it. It does have a great mobility and a great autoloader that takes some time to load all the 4 shells, but once they're all loaded, it's devastating. What does it tell us about the tank? That obviously it's a support tank, but most importantly, you are not here to brawl against your opponents. You are supposed to be sneaky, go into their back and snap your 4 shells, and as soon as they realize you're here, you just get the hell out. And if you do that with the TVP, trust me guys, you are gonna have plenty of great games with it. Usually, since the buff, in average for one game I do like 4k damage, and easily without really any needs, any map knowledge, anything. Truly, if you just apply that simple tactic, hit and run, you should be safe. How do you do that? By looking at your map a lot, because obviously in order for you to be able to do some hit and run, you need to know where the opponents are in order not to get rushed or anything like that. So let's take a look at what we're doing right now. I see that the Type 71, the Ice 8 and the 60TP got spotted on the other side of the map. It tells me that the vast majority, if not the whole enemy team, went on the other side, which means that right now I can try to find some tactics. And here you're gonna see something quite interesting that you need to do with the TVP. Always shoot the last track in order to immobilize your targets to make sure that you can sneak your 4 shells before going away. It's extremely important because even if you miss 1 shell but one of your friends actually hit the targets that is untracked because of you, you are also gonna get some spotting damage, and you can climb up to the ace tanker pretty easily doing this little method. Now you see we go once again for the hit and run. I did not move and make myself so small for my reload, and once my reload is over, bang, I'm using my mobility on that Poryak Panzer, sneaking all my shells and hiding once again. It's kind of a bitchy gameplay, I totally agree with you, but this is what works, and if it works, just do it. Now, for the TVP, a lot of people are asking me if it's a tank newbie friendly. In my opinion, no, it's definitely not newbie friendly, but it's probably one of the easiest tanks in terms of gameplay to learn. Because once you know about map knowledge, you don't need to actually play the tank to know how to play it. You just need to use the mobility and the 4 shells in the magazine. Now for the other statistics that we gotta talk about, this tank is definitely among the norm and probably above the norm, because when it comes to the mobility, it doesn't feel truly like a medium, more like an extremely fast light tank or something like that. And this is the kind of things that makes it interesting, because not only with it are you gonna have good statistics, good games, good average damage per game, you are also gonna have a lot of fun. Personally, it's one of my favorite tank at the moment because of its bursting abilities. It's so freaking funny to see people raging on you every time you sneak your 4 shells. Just like, look at this poor Batchat, for example. He's trying to hide and he can't, it's impossible to run. We did 5k damage without even struggling by snapping what, maybe 4 clips with that tank, and that's all it takes to get 5k damage. And this is the kind of things that waits for you if you play the TVP. So trust me, this is the tank you want to own. And I really want to insist on that. Make sure to always shoot at the first track of any tanks that is coming, because if you do, first you're going to make them use all their repair kit, and after you are going to bully them to the point that they're going to hate you. Now, for the sake of it, let's take a look at a second replay. Here it's going to be a little bit different because we're going to try a different tactic than the one you currently saw before. It's still going to be hit and run, but differently because this time we're not going to get supported by the heavies. So, how do we do that? What you need to understand with the TVP is that you need your opponents to shoot at your allies, and once they are reloading, this is where you attack. You need to attack every time you see that there is an opportunity to snap your 4 shells without getting punished for it. And if you do, you will probably have the greatest games ever. For example, here, there is the 50B, there is the T54. I could have stayed above on the open and get totally snapped out of existence by that 50B and that T54 just to unleash my clip. I didn't, because with this map, with this tank, sorry, you need good map awareness. So what I decided to do is going back to a safe cover from which I had the possibility of snapping 3 shells in the hull of the AMX 50B. And you see, it's all about making the right decisions with the TVP. Should I push right now? Am I going to lose too many hit points? Do I think that I'm going to need those hit points later? Or can I really go goblin mode and straight in try to burst all my shells? You need to think about all of that. It's more about thinking about what's going to happen rather than thinking about your current replay, gameplay, call it whatever you want. And once you understand that, you will love it. You will love it. It's definitely going to be among your favorites. And I just hope that Wargaming will keep the TVP that way, because with the 2 seconds, it didn't feel like a TVP. The main point and advantage of the Czechoslovakian is having a lot of shells with a really short amount of reload between the shells. And now I feel like we truly catch the essence of the Czechoslovakian tank, and specifically of the TVP, because with that with this 1.5 seconds of reload, you just get it. You just get it, you destroy everything, and you do not struggle at all. Just imagine how your opponents are gonna feel when you snap 4 shells on the same guy. This is the kind of things that pisses everyone off, but that you love as a player. 460 TP, just take a look at that. We snap it out of existence, and that's it. He can't do anything. Now, one last thing before the replay ends. I want to make sure with you for you to understand the concept of autoloader. Just because you still have 1 shell in the magazine doesn't mean that you need to keep it in the magazine before you encounter someone to shoot. Don't do that. Look at what I did with the 60 TP. I snapped 3 shells and I only had 1 remaining. I did not even think 1 second. I went straight for a reload. Do not try with this tank to get still 2 shells in the magazine and to try to find a target to shoot on. No, do not do that, otherwise you are gonna get snapped out of existence pretty quickly, because the only thing you need to do with that tank, and the only thing that actually works, is to sneak your 4 shells and get the hell out before the end of your reload, and after coming back and snapping your 4 shells. If you like this kind of gameplay, the TVP is the best example of that gameplay, so you are gonna love it. And hopefully you will agree with this opinion I have. And if it's the case, feel free to tell me in the comments. And personally, I'm going to see you soon for a new video.